just free money. What's happening to politicians, especially in Washington, is they're becoming addicted to opium, OPM, other people's money. They're in an addiction. Not Michele. Michele is an antidote. Michele understands it's a solemn trust that's given her as she safeguards your hard-earned money, Minnesota. And Michele knows, too, that our men and women in uniform fighting for our freedom, they aren't just our heroes. They're somebody's son or daughter or spouse or parent. She knows that they need, as they're fighting to make sure that we are free and that the next generation has its freedom, she knows that they need the resources and the support and the strategy that they need in order to fulfill their mission for victory. She knows that freedom is worth fighting for, and she's got to make sure our military has the resources. She knows that we have to keep America safe and free for the next generation, and that's why she supports, too, an all-of-the-above approach to energy policy. When we first met, Michele had traveled up to Alaska to figure out how could we, using the resource-rich state that is Alaska, how can we tap into some of these resources to put America on a path towards energy independence, because she understands this inherent link between energy and prosperity, and energy and security, and energy and freedom. She understood. So she traveled up to Alaska to figure out how she could help. And I knew that we'd be buddies when I met her up there. When she told me that we should drill here, drill now, and I said, and then I replied, drill, baby, drill. And then we both said, you betcha. Yeah. Traveled with some other elected officials. I remember Representative Boehner was there, and I knew Boehner wasn't a local when I spotted him because he came with that suntan. But she understanding energy security, the importance for America as right now this senseless position that we are in, where we're spending hundreds of billions of your U.S. dollars asking other countries to ramp up production for us when we have the resources here and we can do it more responsibly than other countries can. Those dollars should be circulating here, creating jobs and security for America. Michele gets it. Instead of relying on these regimes, it makes absolutely no sense. Michele knows too that, hey, when you need help for a sick child in an emergency room, the first person you want to see is a doctor, not some Washington bureaucrat telling you who you can see. And that's why she tried to stop the government takeover of healthcare. That's 1/6 of our economy. And while the left was writing Obamacare, that bill in secret, behind closed doors, striking some sweetheart deals, Representative Michele Bachman, she opened the doors to the people's house. She shed light on what is in that bill. And folks, every day as you discover more and more about what is entailed in this bill, the more ticked off you're going to be and the more support for Michele you're going to feel. Obamacare, the fewer choices and the greater expense that we're going to face. She led by listening. She heard from you. She heard you loud and clear, and she told Washington that we don't want this European-style healthcare takeover system that's really the mother of all unfunded mandates. She said no to that. We want a system that expands choices and freedom and competition. We want a system that we can afford, not another new entitlement program that breaks the bank and really violates much of our Constitution. Now, Michele told the Democrats to stop, start over. She told them to kill the bill. And now it is Michele who is leading the charge to replace this thing. Thankfully, Michele is part of that loyal opposition in Washington. She's standing up, she's speaking out, she's offering common sense conservative solutions to the challenges our country faces. And when the left tries to push through policies that violate our conscience and our values and our Constitution. It's Michele who is trying to get them to halt. Michele doesn't just tell them no, she tells them H-E-L-L no. This mistaken concept, I guess, sort of surrounding Republicans right now, that they are the party of no, that we're the party of no. And we're saying, what's wrong with being the party of no when you consider what it is that Obama, Pelosi, and Reid are trying to do to our country? Not when it violates our Constitution. Michele knows that we can't spend our way out of problems, and this fireball, she is not afraid to stand up with that stiff spine, and I think she notices too that as her spine is stiffened, it sure makes the rest of us be inspired and stand up even stronger and do what is right. Michele knows that tough choices do have to be made, and she believes what Reagan believed. He used to say, there aren't any easy answers, but there are simple answers. We just need the courage to do what we know is morally right. And my goodness gracious, Minnesota, your congresswoman has courage. Michele is standing up for what is right in Minnesota. She's standing up for what is right in our country. She understands that to get our economy back on the right track, we need to cut spending and not just stall the spending spree. She knows we got to cut taxes so our families and our small businesses can keep more of what we earn and produce, and then we reinvest and we hire more people, and that's how we get the economy roaring back to life. That's common sense. Michele knows that we need competition in healthcare. And we need to tackle our debt and long-term deficit and jumpstart those energy projects. And she wants to stop the backroom dealing, big government, big spending, big debt, cap and tax, socialized medicine, personality as foreign policy agenda that Obama, Pelosi, and Reid again are trying to do to this nation. She knows that we cannot afford that, not for our future generations. So what do you say, Minnesota? Will you do the rest of the nation a favor and re-elect Michele Bachman? We have so much work in front of us. The first task is to restore balance and common sense, and the first test will be at the ballot box in November. Vote for Michele Bachman and cast your ballot for the principles that made this country great, that made America the greatest country on earth, those time-tested truths. Voting for Michele will allow that lived out, this exceptionalism, that the belief that the government that governs least governs best. And that it's the Constitution that is the path towards that more perfect union. And that only limited government can provide the prosperity and the opportunities equally for all of us, only limited government. And that freedom is a God-given right, and freedom is worth fighting for. And voting for Michele tells the rest of the country, too, that America's finest, our men and women in uniform, are a force for good throughout this world, and that is nothing to apologize for. Of us believe in, if you want less government, and if you want more freedom, and if you want conservative solutions and common sense leadership, we all need Michele Bachman in Congress. Minnesota, you are awesome. Minnesota, you just rock, and we